Bonjour, you're watching CarTell.tv and I'm Jenny.
If you think that the Captor is too small and the Colliers too big, the Kadjar is just for you.
However, the compact crossover segment is so flooded nowadays that just simply sticking another option between two models is not going to be enough to succeed.
The Kadjar needs to be competitively priced, stylish and packed with features in order to compete in this market.
With the all-new 2020 model, Renault hopes to take a big part of the market, but coming up against the likes of the Kia Seltos that I reviewed recently, it's not going to be that easy.
So the Kadjar has a tough and important job. There are 3 trim levels called Life, Zen and Intens.
And that last one is the piece de resistance of the Kadjar offering, with great styling, comfort and safety features.
In terms of design, the Intens is the one that would make the biggest impact. As an example, the Life gets nice 17-inch wheels. The Zen I have here ups the game with same size two-tone alloys, but the Intens gets unique 19-inch wheels that really stand out. It also gets panoramic roof as standard. So yes, Intens is where it's at.
Overall, the Kadjar has that subtle style that the French are renowned for.
The grille is recognisable and sleek, although it does look better on the Intens. The headlights complement it well and the low-lip spoiler adds to the sportiness.
The rear looks really nice with this widened lower section and makes the car appear very stable and encouraging? Can a rear be encouraging? I'm going to say yes.
However, considering Renault are marketing Kadjar as avant-garde, to me, Kadjar's design is somewhat understated. Most of the character comes from subtle contours across the body.
The bonnet may be the most obvious example of this.
The elevation allows for some space for the front wheel arches and the perception of bulk. The curvy theme continues to the doors and this nice bulge under the rearmost side window.
But I do feel like the side has a little bit less character than the rest of the car. I mean, it's not a bad thing because overall it's very stylish.
I don't think the Kadjar will ever be considered a design milestone like the Jaguar E-Type or the Renault 4. But having even a hint of that direction is a huge thing for a modern compact SUV. The engine in this one is a 1.3-litre turbocharged petrol unit with 117 kilowatts of power and 260 Nm of torque. Being blessed with forced induction, the torque comes from 1750 revs, which makes the Kadjar punchier than I expected from the admittedly unremarkable figures.
And that is the only engine option so far.
The engine's mated to a 7-speed dual clutch. In this setup, the Kadjar reaches 100 in 9.6 seconds. Tops out at a pretty surprising 210 kilometers an hour and officially consumes 6.3 litres per 100 kilometers.
And lastly, the Kadjar is front-wheel drive only. So despite its raised stance, this is going to be good for climbing curbs and not rocky mountains.
So what do these numbers translate to?
Now behind the wheel, the Kadjar is unremarkable but sufficient. Clearly I haven't had a chance to test out the top speed, which at 210 kilometers an hour is pretty good for a 1.3-litre engine.
However, from the speeds we did go to, it's safe to assume that reaching 210 kilometers an hour would take about forever. On the good side, reaching practical speeds is really cruisy. The engine revs happily and the dual clutch gearbox gives really nice shifts.
Now these gearboxes can have trouble, especially with low speeds. They can be jerky, but this one has been awesome during our testing.
Merging to motorways and moving away from the traffic lights is pretty untroubled, although not really sporty.
So the only times that you really want more power are hard accelerations uphill or overtaking from an already high speed. Now the Kadjar is made for neither of these conditions really, so it's pretty much all good.
Most people who buy the Kadjar will welcome the way it drives. The steering's really light and precise at city speeds and it inspires more confidence at motorway speeds.
Now personally I don't love light steering, but this has a good connected feel and it's been very handy in the city, which is its purpose, so therefore tick.
Suspension is less confidence inspiring, but once again a welcome trade-off. The suspension does a great job evening out imperfections on our streets, and that's what these cars will be doing 99% of the time.
I want to point out how good the visibility in this car is. I mean, with small SUVs, you're often really lacking in that department. And looking at you, Kona and CHR.
The front has this slanted A-pillar, but it's not really thick. Rear side windows do turn upwards, but there's still enough glass to help visibility.
Now, aside from the body style and class, the visibility clearly shows that this car is made for maneuvering in tight and busy city streets.
The first look of the inside gives a feeling of a nice, albeit not really remarkable interior. especially when compared to the standard French quirkiness we've come to expect from Peugeot and Citroën, and even Renault in some models.
The seats look nicer with this quilted finish and these prominent bolsters, and they are really comfortable.
The central section of the dash with the screen looks nice, but a few years too late to the party. Same as the steering wheel, stylish and functional, but a little dated.
You get the picture. There's little to complain about in terms of looks and practicality. I don't know, perhaps I expected a little more French charm that is so blatantly obvious in other models.
However, what underpins all this is the fact that the interior really feels more premium than the class or the price tag would suggest. The materials are good, fit and finish also. So the interior of the Kadjar gives the feel of a more upmarket vehicle than a picture of it would suggest.
But you're not going to mistake it for a luxury car.
But in this respect, it does give more than many competitors.
In the end, this means more to me. I'd rather have simpler design and better quality materials than a quirky design expressed in cheap plastics.
The gear lever is unusually high, which may look strange, but it actually greatly increases the sporty feel and the ergonomics behind the wheel.
Having the steering wheel and the gear lever so close together is a nice feel behind the wheel. However, I feel like it would have made more sense in a manual car.
And hidden away is this wide lever with buttons on it. It's another way to control your infotainment. You'll need to memorize the functions because you really can't see this thing unless you know it's there. The front gets 2 cup holders, bottle holders indoors, a central storage bin, a tray in front of the gear lever, and a glove box. The rear gets cup holders in the central armrest.
A couple of little things that I didn't love, like the volume button adjustment is touchscreen, when I just felt like either of these knobs would have been so much better, you know, more ergonomic. Yes, it's on the steering wheel, but it's just nice to be able to flick the volume down. Also, this positioning of the screen being below the air vents, for visibility, that's not the best placement, especially because at times I did find that this touchscreen was not all that responsive and I had to hit it a couple of times for it to respond.
This used to be common, but nowadays higher placements are more common and for a reason. It's better that way. One redeeming feature is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard.
The colours really bring it to life, especially at night. And there are a couple of other really cool features on this system, like this air filter.
It filters the air as it's entering the car and has an air pollution sensor. However, the best interior feature of the Kadjar is how spacious it feels on the inside.
If you want to complain about space, you could just get the Captur. But honestly, you never feel cramped inside the Kadjar.
Sure, it's not huge, but it's remarkable how roomy and airy the cabin actually feels.
The rear seats are well comfortable enough for 2 adults. There's fantastic headroom and legroom, and there are air vents and USB chargers.
All of which brings an idea. I think we're currently witnessing the birth of a new car segment.
Compact SUVs are so popular, but the main thing that's been holding them back is lack of space. So manufacturers now are making less compact SUVs.
Those of you who saw our review of Kia Seltos will remember how I said it was bigger than most compact SUVs, and that translates to more space on the inside than the competitors offer. And the same goes for Qashqai, which is Kadjar's sibling.
Anyway, it's a really nice addition to the market and definitely one that was missing. I mean, a lot of these subcompact SUVs are just too compact, and I'm pretty compact myself. Now the boot has 408 litres, and that's really good for this class. But not only that, it's also got this cool separator. So maybe you've got 2 bowling balls and you don't want them to roll around. Well, there you go. This nice wide opening makes it really easy to load bulky objects. And this lever makes it so easy just to drop the back seat. Hell yeah.
With the rear 60/40 seats dropped, it increases to 1,478 litres, with not a completely flat floor. This version comes with advanced emergency braking system, electronic stability control, ABS, emergency brake assist, EBD, hill start assist, electric parking brake, blind spot warning, lane departure warning, reversing camera with front, rear and side parking sensors, cruise control with speed limiter and tyre pressure monitor. Oh, and that's smart key.
And many of these features are standard even in the base model. The one thing that is missing across the range though is rear cross traffic alert, and I really don't know why.
However, if rear cross traffic alert is not on your must-have list, the Kadjar is one fine vehicle and definitely worth considering.
It is closely related to the Qashqai.
which is actually what Amelia drives.
It also has more than enough uniqueness, not just on the styling front, to set it apart.
For example, the Kadjar has the DCT rather than the CVT in the Qashqai. The main features are its efficient and sufficient powertrain, great interior materials, remarkable interior space, and great manoeuvrability in town.
Basically, it has all the features that a city SUV should have. And in terms of materials and space, it actually outperforms most of its rivals.
The Kadjar Live starts at around $32,000 on road. This Zen will be just under $37,000, and the Intens will cost you just over $42,000 drive away. Pretty feasible.
And if all this isn't enough, there are a few more reasons why someone who drives a lot would buy the Kadjar.
First of all, you get a 5-year warranty with no mileage limits. Secondly, you get 5 years or 150,000 kilometres of cap price servicing. Lastly, the service interval is 12 months or 30,000 kilometres. It looks like Renault aimed to give you 5 years of peace of mind with the Kadjar, and that's a great offer.
Now, the Kadjar isn't new for Renault, but it is new in Australia. And after spending a few days with it, I can safely say it's a strong contender in a very popular segment. And Renault, you should have introduced it earlier. And thanks again for watching Cartell TV. And don't forget, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. And we'll see you next time. Peace.